us media scrags people voted on some
Never
awards.
say that, yeah.
And, just want to,
Yeah.
not that one stands out above the other, which is MVP.
That's always a big one.
What is value, from a coach's perspective, what are you looking for when you say, that guy is so valuable?
Yeah, right. Well, that's a really good question. I think the obvious one is the points. I think people look at that. I think that's the easiest one to see, and it jumps out at you. But the coaches take it probably a little deeper. We're looking for leadership, I would say, would be a big part of being a most valuable player. I would say playing in different situations, not just, I don't want to say one-dimensional, playing in a lot of situations. And then just overall, I think some trustworthiness comes in that with that too. So you can roll that all in one from a coach's perspective. And, I think you guys made a pretty good choice. I think Juice fits all those boxes, ticks all those boxes.
How cool is it that there are probably 4 or 5 guys on this team that have the points but also seem to check all of those boxes?
Yeah, well, then that's why you're in the playoffs, or one of the big reasons you're in the playoffs. There's a lot of other people that have to fill roles also, but those types of guys have to just do more than one thing. And I think our players have been pretty committed, up and down the lineup to, yes, playing offense and scoring, but also being committed to keeping the puck out of our own net. And I think you saw that by some of the numbers that we had as far as goals against.
Jim, if I understood correctly, yesterday you said in practice you may have been working on things, that might happen in the future.
Yeah.
Would you do that tonight?
Oh, that's a good question, and that we talked about that, frankly, and we just want to let the guys play. We don't want to. We believe, like we've said all along, we want them to have a good game, feel good, play right. We don't want to introduce too much stuff, and again, it's nothing earth-shattering. It's some little tweaks. So we'll kind of let them just play their thing, play their game tonight, and then we'll build upon in our next practice what we've worked on.
You have a handful of guys who have never been in a game 82 before a game 1 of the playoffs. How do you feel like your younger guys, whether it's in England or a LaFerrier or a Turcotte or whoever, is kind of handling this moment down the stretch?
It's a good question. I haven't given that a lot of thought, frankly, but it is a good question. I'm sure they're excited, like we all are, to get started in the playoffs. But there's, again, I've said it, I hate to sound like a broken record, but there's work to be done, and you're building your game. You want to feel good going into that first one, and be proud of the full 82-game schedule that you've just played. So I'm sure they're excited. I'm sure they're looking forward, despite the fact we're trying to keep them focused. But let's get tonight done, feel good about the body of work for the regular season, and then we'll focus on the playoffs.
I know you've talked about it before, but 82 games for Andreas, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, it really is, and as be a physical player like that, and banging, of course you put yourself, he dishes out punishment, but of course you take it at the same time. Anytime you're going to be the initiator, you're taking it. And so to get through like he did, went a real strong season, really happy for him, because there's another guy nothing was handed to him. He had to grind and find his way, and I'm sure he's pretty appreciative of playing all the games.
Will you want information about the other games going on in the league as your game's going on tonight, or do you just have to play tonight's game and let the chips fall where they may?
Yeah, I mean we have to do what we do for sure, but we'll have an eye on things, like we have. I think this last month we've talked about it. We've been scoreboard watching it just like everybody else, because the games have been so exciting. So we'll have an eye on it, but won't be our primary focus.